And we are back to What Did AI Say at VickyL-4AI on YouTube. Thank you so very much for coming back to the podcast. As always, gratitude is the attitude. Let's go ahead and jump right into today's question. It's going to be episode number 76. And this is going to be like a two-parter, so we better get moving here. Okay, we're going to start with Chatgpt and let's find out what our first question is. Is the RSF the Rapid Support Forces organization for the Sudanese people or acting against them? It's a good one. The Rapid Support Forces, RSF, are a powerful paramilitary group in Sudan, and whether they are for or against the Sudanese people depends on perspective. But many Sudanese civilians and international observers accuse them of acting against civilian interests, especially in recent years. And here's a clear breakdown. What is the RSF? The RSF grew out of the Janjaweed militias that operated in Darfur in the early 2000s. They were formerly organized under Sudan's government and later became a semi-independent paramilitary force. Their leader is Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemeti. What do they claim? The RSF leadership has claimed they fight insurgent groups, protect national stability, support political transition at times, defend Sudan from internal threats. What are they accused of? The RSF has been widely accused by the United Nations, human rights organizations, Sudanese civilian groups of mass killings in Darfur, ethnic violence, sexual violence, looting and destruction of civilian property, violent crackdowns on pro-democracy protesters, notably the 2019 Khartoum massacre. Current conflict since 2023. In April 2023, war broke out between the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, the RSF. This conflict has devastated Khartoum and other cities, displaced millions of Sudanese people, led to widespread humanitarian crisis. Many civilians report abuses by both sides, but the RSF has been heavily accused of targeting civilian populations, particularly in Darfur. So are they for the Sudanese people? Supporters argue they represent marginalized regions and counter traditional military elites. Critics argue they function more as a power-seeking militia responsible for severe human rights abuses. The majority of international human rights reporting describes the RSF as a major driver of violence and instability rather than a protective force for civilians. Okay, that was short and sweet. ChatGPT also asks if you'd like, it can explain how the RSF became so powerful, the ethnic dimension of the Darfur conflict, or how this war affects regional politics in Africa and the Middle East. Okay, that was definitely short and sweet. Let's go ahead and move on to Deepseek's answer. And just in case you forgot the question, let me repeat it. Is the RSF the Rapid Support Forces organization for the Sudanese people or acting against them? Okay, this is Deepseek's answer. Based on extensive reports from human rights organizations, UN investigations, and official government statements, the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, are consistently documented as acting against the Sudanese people through a campaign of widespread atrocities and human rights abuses. The evidence compiled by multiple authoritative sources paints a clear picture of the RSF's impact on civilians. Genocide determination. The U.S. government has determined that RSF members have committed genocide, and a UN probe found the RSF's actions in El Fasher bore the hallmarks of genocide, specifically targeting non-Arab communities like the Zaghawa and Fur. Okay, so basically, our U.S. government is claiming that the RSF is committing genocide. Now, if our government claimed that the IDF committed genocide, then I would believe this claim. But because they don't see the IDF as committing genocide, I question if the RSF is truly doing what is being said. So let's continue. Mass atrocities. The RSF has perpetrated widespread killings, torture, and sexual violence. In El Fasher alone, they engaged in mass killings, rape, and torture, with women and girls from non-Arab communities subjected to sexual violence, including rape and forced nudity. That's the other thing with what's going on in Sudan. The attacks, a lot of the attacks are being done on the, of course, indigenous people of the region, which is always the case. Okay, targeting vulnerable groups. Human Rights Watch documented the RSF specifically targeting, abusing, and executing people with disabilities, accusing amputees of being injured combatants, and mocking others before killing them. They have also attacked civilians based on ethnicity, with witnesses hearing fighters say, "If we find Zaghawa, we will kill them all." Obstructing humanitarian aid. The RSF has targeted aid convoys, schools, and markets. In February 2026, they were allegedly behind a drone strike on a UN food convoy, and they have prevented food and assistance from reaching civilians, leading to famine conditions. It seems the same as what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. While the RSF, keep in mind that this RSF is the paramilitary group, not the country's official military group. We're going to get into that in a minute. Let's finish this. While the RSF has a political wing, they have a political wing as well, like Hamas, that denies these allegations. The overwhelming body of evidence from governments, the UN, and human rights organizations consistently documents their role in committing grave violations against Sudan's civilian population. Okay, Deepseek's summary. I hope this information helps you understand the serious situation in Sudan. Would you like to know more about the international response or the origins of this conflict? Okay, again, another short but sweet. Let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and see what Chatgpt and Deepseek had to say to a second question. Okay, so this question, and of course we're going to start with Chatgpt again. Are the SSF, the Sudanese Armed Forces, for or against the Sudanese people? The SSF is the official national military of Sudan, the SSF, the official national military of Sudan. Okay, so here's ChatGPT's answer. The Sudanese Armed Forces, SSF, are the official national military of Sudan. Whether they are for or against the Sudanese people depends on perspective. Now, here's the problem. The SSF and the RSF, it's undetermined if they are for or against the Sudanese people. That's a major problem, and that's why this is just so, what's going on in Sudan is just so bad. They want to call it a civil war, but from my understanding, a civil war has to do with people fighting people, not national force fighting a not national force. and the people just are in the middle being killed left and right by both forces. For example, let's say that ICE decided to go to war with our police in every state, our national police departments in every state, or our police departments in every state. Would we call that a civil war? And because ICE can't stand minorities, black and brown people, and our own police, national police services in each state can't stand black and brown people, neither one of these forces are taking us into consideration whatsoever. So to me, this is what is going on in Sudan. The RSF, which is the military, the militant group, and the SSF, which is the official group, have a war going on, and the people don't matter to either one. Okay, let's continue. Here's a balanced breakdown. 1. Official role. The SSF's stated mission is to defend Sudan's sovereignty, maintain national security, protect the country from internal and external threats. In theory, that means they exist to protect the Sudanese people, but it didn't say that. Historical reality. Sudan has experienced repeated military coups, 1958, 1969, 1989, 2019, 2021. The military has often removed civilian governments, ruled directly or dominated transitional governments, suppressed protests. Many Sudanese civilians have accused the SAF of using force against protesters, prioritizing political power over democratic transition, participating in human rights abuses in conflicts, for example, Darfur, the recent civil war. 3. Current conflict, SAF versus RSF. Since 2023, SSF has been fighting the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, a powerful paramilitary group. SSF presents itself as defending Sudan from a rogue militia. So the SSF presents itself as defending Sudan from the rogue militia, which is the RSF. Critics argue both sides have committed abuses. Thank you. Thank you, critics. Civilians have suffered massively in the fighting. Displacement, famine, civilian deaths. I'm not sure why they're calling this a civil war if it doesn't involve the civilians, but the two military forces. That to me, I believe, is misleading. Many Sudanese people feel caught between two armed power centers. 4. Public opinion. Sudanese public opinion is not unified. Some support SSF as the legitimate national army. Others see the military as part of the problem, especially after the 2021 coup that derailed Sudan's democratic transition. Many civilians distrust both the SSF and the RSF. So this is Chatgpt's conclusion. In conclusion, the SSF is officially supposed to serve and protect the Sudanese people. However, historically and in recent events, it has often been involved in political power struggles and actions that many Sudanese view as harmful to civilian interests. So the answer isn't simply for or against. It depends on political alignment, experience with military rule, impact of the ongoing conflict. Chatgpt also asks if you'd like, it can explain how SSF became so politically powerful in Sudan's history. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to Deepseek and ask it the same question. Are the SSF, the Sudanese Armed Forces, for or against the Sudanese people? Okay, here is Deepseek's answer. Based on the comprehensive reports from the UN, the U.S. State Department, and human rights organizations, the Sudanese Armed Forces, the SSF, have committed widespread abuses against civilians. Basically, the SSF and the RSF, again, are at war with each other. It's a power struggle of armed forces, and the people are in the middle, with neither one of these armed services caring about them whatsoever. Okay, let's continue with Deepseek's answer. Documented abuses against civilians, and this is SSF again. Multiple authoritative sources have documented the SSF's actions in the ongoing conflict. Indiscriminate warfare. The SSF has been documented carrying out indiscriminate aerial bombardments using barrel bombs and artillery in densely populated residential areas, markets, and hospitals, causing mass civilian casualties. The U.S. government determined that SSF members committed war crimes, and the U.S. found reasonable grounds to believe the SSF committed war crimes, including murder, torture, and outrages upon personal dignity. Targeting of civilians and detainees. The SSF and affiliated militias have committed extrajudicial killings of civilians and summarily executed suspected RSF informants. In detention, they subjected prisoners to torture, starvation, sexual violence, and beatings in overcrowded facilities. Detainees from Darfur and Kordofan face discrimination based on perceived RSF affiliation. Reports also indicate the SSF used hunger and starvation as a weapon of war by blocking and looting humanitarian aid. So the SSF, which is the Sudanese army that supposedly protects the country and its, democracy, etc., they have been indicated to use hunger and starvation as a weapon of war by blocking and looting humanitarian aid. Use of prohibited weapons. There are serious allegations backed by UN investigators and the U.S. determination that the SSF used chemical weapons such as chlorine gas on at least 2 occasions. They have also reportedly used Iranian-supplied drones in attacks, crushing civilian rule and political opposition. The SSF's actions also show a consistent pattern of opposing a genuine civilian-led transition, military dominance over government while creating a civilian facade with a technocratic government in Port Sudan. The SSF maintains ultimate control. Analysts note these structures are meant to consolidate power, not serve the people. The U.S. sanctioned SAF leader General al-Burhan for prioritizing war over peace and for indiscriminate bombings. Suppression of civil society. Both the SAF and RSF have pushed civic space to be completely closed, the worst possible rating. The SSF has targeted, detained, and killed activists, journalists, and humanitarian workers, and filed criminal charges against anti-war figures abroad. Reconsidering the narrative. The view of the SSF as a national army protecting the people is complicated by its historical composition and actions. It's not complicated, but whatever. Historical composition. Since its formation, the SSF's leadership has been dominated by Arab tribes from the Nile Valley, with systemic underrepresentation of groups from Darfur, Blue Nile, and South Kordofan. This has led to perceptions of it representing a narrow political identity rather than a truly national institution. Sound familiar? Contrasting claims. While a Nigerian publication presents the RSF as supportive of peace talks, and civilian rule while portraying the SSF negatively, this source's pro-RSF bias means its specific characterizations should be treated with caution. The overwhelming weight of evidence from international bodies documents severe abuses by both warring parties. Deepseek's conclusion. I hope this detailed analysis helps clarify the complex situation regarding the SSF's relationship with the Sudanese people. The evidence strongly suggests that their actions have been devastating for civilians. Okay, so that was kind of like a two-part. We asked two questions there, but I wanted us to have both perspectives of the RSF and the perspective of the SSF as well. Okay, so how does any of this affect our daily lives? Something that's interesting to me is that, of course, you have these warring factions, and anytime that you have division in a country, there are always actors outside infiltrating inside to like change the tide of how things turn out, so that they can get either gold or oil. It's always a natural resource, always. And let's see, I did some investigating on this, and let's see who these bad actors are in this Sudan conflict between their official army and unofficial army. Here we go. So what I found out was that it's more of a proxy war with outside factors such as the UAE, of course, Russia, China, and Turkey weaponizing both sides. So the desire is for these people to weaken each other so that these other countries can come in and take their resources. This is how division works. This is why division is such a useful tactic. It's one of the most useful tactics, and it's age old because it's been used since the beginning. Division and religion. And what's interesting to me is that we still don't seem to get it, but it's the tactic from the official playbook of how to conquer a people. It is the tactic, and you should see it and know it's coming. So now that we better understand what is going on in Sudan, we can understand why the people are so screwed, basically, because they have two militaries fighting against each other, and neither one of them cares about the people, period. And not only do they not care, but it's stated that the RSF in particular goes after the indigenous groups specifically for torture. So in this case, I mean, we talked about Antifa, we talked about the Black Panther Party, we talked about Hamas. But in this particular case with Sudan, the RSF is not like Hamas, is not like the Black Panther Party. They're not helping the people whatsoever, but neither is the national military either. So the people are on their own. And that is why the Sudan situation is so tragic. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to our positive saying for today. Hopefully it is positive. Let's see what it is. I'm hoping I saved it somewhere. Ugh. I think I might have. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. This is a good one. Okay, here we go. Who is this by? It says a guy named Fabian Hensler. No. Is that right? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. So this is attributed to Fabian Hensler. And here we go. Every person you meet is a mirror, a teacher, or a key to your transformation. I truly believe that. Every person you meet is a mirror, a teacher, or a key to your transformation. There you go. That was a good one. Okay. Thank you so very much for giving me about 26 minutes of your time. Oh, I thought that was going to go a little bit longer because we had the 2 questions. I hope this episode definitely gives you some insight into the tragedy of Sudan and the Sudanese people. And, you know, if you want to get more information to better understand, please, by all means, do your own deep dive and discover, you know, for yourself more information about the conflict. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the podcast. And always remember, we the people have the power. Peace.